Hello, everyone. Charles Watts here. Welcome back to Inside Arsenal. It's Tuesday. It is match day, of course. Big Champions League night to come at the Emirates a little bit later on today. I'll be heading to the game very shortly. Well, not very shortly, but I'll be heading there in a while. Really looking forward to this one. It's going to be a huge test. Big challenge for Arsenal against PSG. Very interesting to see how they deal with it and cope with it. Plenty to talk about ahead of today's game. We'll go through the latest team news, some really big positive news for Arsenal from London Colney yesterday when we saw that open training session. Mikel Merino back training, in full training for Arsenal. Takehiro Tomiyasu as well. So we'll discuss that, go over that, look at a predicted 11 for today, look what some of you guys have been saying, look at what PSG boss Luis Enrique has been saying about that huge decision to leave out Ousmane Dembele for PSG tonight. Arguably, well, maybe not even arguably, maybe factually, PSG's best player so far this season, but Enrique has dropped him. He's left him in France, and he's explained that decision after their very, I was going to say public falling out, but I'm not sure it's been done in public, if you see what I mean. We haven't spotted exactly what's gone on. We don't know exactly what's gone on, but PSG and Luis Enrique have certainly made it public with the comments and the decision that he's made. So let's get started, shall we? We'll talk about the big news for Arsenal. Mikel Merino coming back. I mean, Mikel Arteta's press conference yesterday morning at Colney didn't sound too positive on Merino potentially being available for this game. He said the only two injury doubts who are in contention were Ben White and Yuri Timber. That may well be the case because he might well not be considering Mikel Merino yet to be available for this game. And I imagine that is probably actually true. But still, it sort of made me think we weren't going to see him in this training session. And if we did, it would just be doing work on his by himself or with a fitness coach like he was doing last week. But no, here he is, bang, in full training for Arsenal yesterday in front of the world's media. Just fantastic news. Real boost for Arsenal this, because it is early, no doubt about it. The initial thought were we would be seeing him after the next international break. But now there's a very good chance you would think that we are going to see him before the international break. That game against Southampton coming up this weekend, you would imagine he will be involved in that. Probably not from the start, obviously, but we might well get to finally see him make his debut. And that's just a massive boost for Arsenal. A, because it's early, but B, just because he's a top quality player. You know, and Mikel Arteta and Edu worked very hard to sign him this summer. It dragged on longer than we were all hoping for in terms of getting this deal over the line. And then for him to get injured in his first training session in such a freak way, you know, it was just a massive blow to everyone. So to get him back early, potentially give him his first start before, or first minutes before the international break. Let him have another 2 weeks during the international break, because I'm pretty sure, well, I would hope anyway, that Spain will see common sense and won't call him up for that international break. And then he can have another 2 weeks training with the players that are left here and then be ready to go after the international break. Who knows? We might even see him tonight. I doubt it. I would imagine Arteta's going to tread very carefully and just think we don't really need him in the squad for this one. We'll just let him train for a few more days and then maybe get involved against Southampton. But it's not beyond the realms of possibility that we all rock up at the Emirates later on and find out that Mikel Merino is going to be on the bench. And that would be a huge boost for Arsenal. But just seeing him back out there on the pitch, and he looked really happy, not surprisingly as well, because it must have been so frustrating for him to get this big move, to wait all summer to get your big move. And then your first training session, Gabriel comes collapsing down on top of you and breaks your shoulder. It's not exactly ideal start to your life at a new club. So he must be delighted to be back and have the ball at his feet and out there training with the players. And you know, his return is just going to make such a big difference to this team in terms of the options and how Arsenal are going to set out. I still think long term, and I know plenty are going to disagree with this, but I still think long term the plan will be to have Declan Rice playing as a 6 and then Merino next to Odegaard when they're fit. I'm sure that is in the plan for Arsenal's first 11 in big games, providing everyone's playing well and in form. It would be Rice, Merino, Odegaard. But we don't know yet because we haven't seen it. But I'm predicting that's what will be the case, and we'll have to wait and see if that is right or not. Elsewhere, other positive injury news from the training session yesterday. Takehiro Tomiyasu in full training as well. Another player we've had to wait for because of really annoying injury that picked up during pre-season. He's back in full training. Could well be involved tonight again. Maybe a wait again until Southampton the weekend. But real positive to see him back. I mean, just his just having him around the squad, you know, you got another right back option, you got another left back option, you got another centre back option. You know, his versatility is his strength, and he can play as well pretty much in all three of those positions. And so it's a huge boost. Yes, his availability is frustrating. Yes, every time we see him get back and we see him play well, get in the team, it's not too long before he suffers another injury. And I know it's frustrating. It is, but when he is fit, there's no doubt in Tomiyasu's quality and what he brings to this squad. So it's great to see him back, and hopefully he'll be back in action very, very soon. And Calafiori, of course, was in training yesterday. Mikel Arteta wasn't quite sure when he gave his press conference yesterday morning whether he would be, after suffering that knee scare, shall we say, at the weekend, that he was emotional. Mikel Arteta admitted after the game maybe there were fears that he'd done something a little bit more serious than he has. But the fact he's out there, he's training, he was all smiles, he looked fine, he was throwing himself about, is very, very positive. I imagine he'll start tonight. Maybe they'll think, maybe we need to be a little bit careful with him. But the fact he was training the way he was, I think he'll probably start tonight. And hopefully it was no more than a little bit of a twinge, a little bit, cramp, whatever. And they thought initially it was a little bit more serious than it was, but he's back out there. And great to see, because that would be a real shame for Arsenal, given the start he's made to his career here and how promising he looks, to then, if he'd have suffered a bad injury that would have ruled him out for any sort of lengthy period of time, it would have been a huge shame. So great to see him back out there. Really positive injury news for Arsenal. Obviously no Ben White, so there's going to be no Ben White tonight. He wasn't involved in training as well, so you'd imagine we're probably not going to see him till post-international break at the earliest, which is a shame because he's such a quality player and you want him involved. But fortunately for Arsenal, they do have cover at the moment, even with Tomiyasu coming back there. But obviously, Yuri Timber, who's playing very, very well at the moment as well. So it's a shame not to see Ben White. But otherwise than that, it's the only other absentees, obviously, that we know about: Martin Odegaard, Alexander Zinchenko. So team news-wise, after what's been a pretty difficult start to the season for Arsenal in terms of injuries, slowly but surely we're seeing players coming back, and that is a real, real positive ahead of some really big games coming up. Okay, tonight's game. Mikel Arteta, speaking about PSG, obviously rates them a lot, says they're really tough, they are exceptional, and they dominate every phase of play. They have a very clear intention of how they want to dominate the game through the ball, and when they don't have it, they want it straight back. They're really aggressive with it, and they confront you. When asked about how important the game is and facing Luis Enrique, a manager who was glowing when talking about yesterday in praise of Enrique, he said, of course, we want to win the game, and we know after the draw in Atalanta, with the number of games we still have left to play, it's going to be really important. Nothing is going to be decided tomorrow. Regarding Luis and I, we want to do the best for our clubs. He's won pretty much every competition you can imagine already in his career. He has transformed the club that has a very clear identity. It's a very good test for all of us, and it is a really good test. That's why I'm really looking forward to seeing how Arsenal cope with it. Yes, PSG are a little bit weak, and certainly without Dembele, they've got a few injury issues as well, but they're still a very good team with high quality players who, as Mikel says, have got a clear way of playing. I think what Arsenal need to try and do is really get in their faces tonight. You go back to PSG's game, and this was a PSG with Kylian Mbappe playing last season. You go back to their game at St James's Park against Newcastle in the group stages. Newcastle just blew them away that night with the intensity, with the pressing, real high energy football, and PSG just couldn't cope with it. I think that's what Arsenal need to try and do today. Really get in their faces, get at them from a real high tempo from the start. Don't let them settle. Don't let them get into their style of play. And then you've got a really good chance. I think Arsenal's wingers are going to be key. I mean, they're always key. It's just the way Arsenal play. But I think they'll be really, really important tonight. You look at some of PSG's threat, when it's going to come from. You look at Hakimi, for example, down the right-hand side, how much he loves to get forward, which he's brilliant at, of course, and you're going to have to watch out for that. But he does vacate some space behind him. You look at how Martinelli's playing at the moment. Is that an area Arsenal can really exploit? 100%. I think it can be. We all know that Saka's going to be dangerous, whatever happens, because he just always is. So I think those wingers are going to be really, really crucial for Arsenal in terms of trying to stretch the play, get in behind PSG and really cause some problems. Can't wait for this one. It's going to be a really, really intriguing game. You want to get involved in tomorrow's reaction show, of course, you know what to do. Come back to this video. I don't think I'll be doing a ratings video after the game tonight. I'm watching it in the stands with my dad. I think it's going to be impossible to piece together and get it done after the game. So I'll just wait until tomorrow morning, do a proper in-depth reaction show to it. You want to get involved in that, come back after full time, get down into the comments on this video, give me your thoughts on it, who impressed you, who didn't, man of the match, all that sort of stuff, all the big talking points. Give me your opinions and I'll pull them together and get them included in tomorrow's show. Right, in terms of Luis Enrique, he gave his press conference at the Emirates yesterday, PSG training on the Emirates pitch. And he was asked, of course, the big talking point, what on earth's going on with Dembele? Why is he back in France? Why haven't you brought him here? He got question after question on it. This is what he had to say. This was his explanation. He says, if someone doesn't comply or respect the expectations of the team, it means they are not prepared to play. The match is very important and I want all my players to be ready. So as a consequence, I've left him out. I want the best for my team and that is my job. These circumstances are difficult and you have to take difficult decisions, but I'm 100% engaged with my decision and 100% sure of the decision I've made. I have the support of the club's president and the sporting director, I'm here to create a team, and in the future that might include Ousmane Dembele, just to be clear. It's a massive call. It's a huge call. I mean, we know that Luis Enrique isn't scared of making calls. That's the type of manager he is. He's always been that sort of manager, and he will make big calls. And it's very much his way or no way. And he's made that very clear with this decision. But, you know, it'll be interesting. If the result doesn't go PSG's way today, it'll be very interesting to see the fallout back in Paris in terms of the decision that Enrique has made ahead of such a huge game. And there's no doubt this is a boost for Arsenal. You want it if you're Mikel Arteta, you're the Arsenal players, and you look at that team sheet and Dembele's not in it, you're going to feel a lot better because he's such a threat. We know that when he's on it, he is very, very good. He's almost unplayable at times. So to have him not involved is a big, big boost for Arsenal. Obviously, they've still got loads more good players who can hurt you, and Arsenal have to be aware of that. But it's definitely, it's impossible to look at this and not think that PSG are weaker tonight in Dembele's absence. So it's a big, big call from Enrique. Okay, predicted 11 time for today. I feel like this is quite an easy one. I say that, and then Mikel will probably make a load of changes and surprise us all. But I just feel like he's going to be unchanged from the team we saw at the weekend. I just can't see anyone coming in, and yeah, obviously there's been calls for Nwaneri to play, which I wouldn't be worried if I turned up and Nwaneri was in the team, but I don't think he will be. I think it'll be exactly the same side that played against Leicester at the weekend. So Raya in goal. Timber will continue at right back, Saliba, Gabriel and Calafiori. Obviously, if there's a real doubt over Calafiori, if they are worried about that knee, even though he was training yesterday, you've got Kivior who can come in and play that role. You've even got Miles Lewis-Skelly who can play that role. I imagine he would go with Kivior over Miles Lewis-Skelly, but there are options. But I'm sticking with Calafiori for this one. I think Partey and Rice will continue in midfield. And then I think it'll again be Saka, Martinelli, and then it'll be Trossard, Havertz. So in possession, Arsenal more of a 4-4-2 with Havertz and Trossard in that sort of given freedom as they are to interchange in positions. When Arsenal are out of possession, then one of them drops back in and makes it a 4-3-3. So I just don't really see him steering away from that. I was looking at the options, and I just think it's for once, almost the first time this season, I think it's a relatively easy predicted 11 to go with, and I just don't think there'll be any changes. I think on Saturday he might make changes again. I think Nwaneri would be a perfect game for him against Southampton at home to come in and make his first Arsenal start in the league in that game. But I think tonight, Champions League, I would be surprised if he went for that. So there's my predicted 11 for today. Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori, Partey, Rice, Saka, Martinelli, Trossard, and Kai Havertz. Right, moving on to some of your questions and comments now. A couple of you here getting in touch, and sort of in relation to what we were speaking about yesterday. There was a few questions saying, "Oh, is this the end of Ben White's time as a regular starter for Arsenal because of Timber's form and all that?" And I kind of addressed it. Gave my thoughts in yesterday's show, and some of you have got in touch over that. There's one here from Beeman from South Africa. It says, "Howdy, Charles. People seem to be forgetting how amazing Ben White has been since joining. He has been run into the ground and very understandably not had the best of form since playing through injury. I cannot wait for him to recover fully from his injuries issues. What a wonderful problem for Arteta to have such a plethora of amazing footballers." Absolutely, 100%. Fantastic problem for Arteta to have. And look, I don't think anyone's forgetting, or I'd hope no one's forgetting how amazing Ben White has been, because he's been exactly that. He's been a sensational signing for Arsenal. He remains a top quality player who is going to play huge amounts of minutes for Arsenal and be very, very important. And I just think it's a fantastic position for Mikel Arteta to be in, to have these quality players. And here's one from the Mad Rambling Podcast. It says, "RE, Timber, Calafiori and White. I think Timber ticks a few more boxes than Benny, and Calafiori is our best choice at left back and will definitely improve on his few mistakes as he beds in. The main thing for me, though, is that the holy grail must be to have two players of similar standard for every position. On top of that, you got several players who can play several positions even better. Take the three aforementioned defenders, all very effective at fullback, but can easily play centre-back if required, or even in the sixth role. Been crying out for Benny to be tried there, as he lacks the one-on-one skills of Timber, but is excellent at reading the game, has good interception stats, and has a good passing range. In fact, he could even be a box-to-box option. He has a decent bit of pace and a good engine." I mean, you're absolutely right there about two top quality players in each position is obviously the holy grail. It's what you absolutely want. I think Arsenal are very, very close to having that now. And the players being able to play several positions is fantastic. And when we talk about Ben White, Calafiori, Timber, Tomiyasu, as I said earlier, you've got top quality options who can move across the defence and can cover so many areas. And that's just the real strength of Arsenal's squad, certainly defensively right now. And it's a brilliant position for Mikel Arteta to be in. You imagine how difficult things have been so far this season, injury-wise, for Arsenal, and who's been missing. And yet they haven't really struggled because of that, because they've still had so much strength in depth in those defensive areas that they've not even really had to call on someone like Kivior, for example, even though they've had these injury issues. And that's a massive boost and shows how strong the squad is for Arsenal. So thank you very much, you two, for getting in touch on that one. And just quickly, while we're talking about fullbacks, there's one here that says, is this the end of Zinchenko? How many players are ahead of him now? Will he return in midfield? I mean, Zinchenko's got a battle on his hands, no doubt about it. Is it the end for him? Who knows? It's up for him. Transfer window's closed now. I can't imagine there would be any way Arsenal would let him go in January. So whatever happens, I think he's still here for the season. So he's still got a big part to play. Like we say about players who can play in different positions, he can do that. Can play left back. He can play in midfield. And even though Mikel hasn't really used him there, I still think he's a really good option in those midfield areas if needs be. And so is this the end of it? I don't think so. I think we're still going to see a lot from Zinchenko this season. I think Mikel's definitely going to use him. Is it the end of him as a regular starter in this Arsenal team? I think 100%. 100%. I just think the team's moved on. And it shows how quickly the team has moved on. When you think of Jesus and Zinchenko with the two sort of game changers who took the squad to a new level just a couple of years ago, and now all of a sudden they can barely get in the team. And that just shows how quickly and how steep this ascent Arsenal been on under Mikel Arteta is, which is a great thing. And it's just a challenge now for the likes of Zinchenko and Jesus to still ensure that they can play a part in this team. But I still think they will. And they've still got a big part to play, even if maybe at the end of this season, Arsenal will have to sit down with them and decide what the best is in terms of their future. Right, that's it from me, everyone. Thank you very much for your time. If you're going to the game today, enjoy it. If you see me, come and say hello. I'll be there as usual in my seat with my dad. Can't wait for this one. Going to be a real special night, I think, down the Emirates. Like I said, big reaction show tomorrow. You want to get involved, come down into the comments. Let me know your thoughts at full time, hopefully regarding a very, very impressive Arsenal win. Until tomorrow, have a great day, everyone. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.